this is Chris the Nightmare Ariola, and you're watching Mission Boxing Today on YouTube.
Heavyweight boxing fans, what's the deal? All right, so I did a similar video like this a few months ago. I was talking about Bryant Jennings and the American fan base getting behind heavyweight boxing. I forget the exact title of the video. So I've done these types of videos before, but I want to do another one because now, as a fan, you have a choice to watch any fight that you want. That kind of goes without saying. But I think a lot of fans should be behind this Washington versus Wilder fight. Yes, it's not pairing the top, necessarily the top two heavyweights together. All right. But I still think it's a good fight, a good American heavyweight fight, man. I really think that. I really believe that. So, but the one thing about this era, and I'm just pretty much speaking on the American heavyweights or just being over here in the United States, I know a lot of people, when they see fighters like Wilder and all these up and coming guys over here, the first thing we want to do is compare them to Ali and Tyson and Holyfield and Riddick Bowe and Joe Louis and all the great fighters of the past. And sometimes that can be unfair, man, especially when a guy's first, you know, when these guys are coming up, or these guys just won a title or something like that. I always like to wait for a fighter's career to be over with, you know what I mean, before I really start making those types of comparisons. But what I will say is I like this 2017 going into this new era of fighters for us. Doesn't mean they're better than the guys from the past. I'm not saying that at all, but I like where it's heading, or where it's headed to, because few years ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago or whatever, we'll have prospects come in, and HBO and some of these networks, they'll put all their eggs in one basket, like they did with Seth Mitchell. No disrespect to Seth Mitchell, you know what I mean, but we put all our eggs in one basket on him, and if he didn't make it, then that meant that we had no good heavyweights in the United States, and that's not true. Now, what's different from like when Seth Mitchell was around, or even when Michael Grant came in? Remember when he came in, we were putting all, because he looked the part and everything, and we're putting all our eggs in one basket on him. Then he gets beat by Lennox, and oh, we don't have any good heavyweights, you know. And then there's been other guys too, Calvin Brock. Can't think of everybody. Even when Eddie Chambers was a prospect coming up, although he was a smaller heavyweight, but it's different now to me, in my opinion, because there's always going to be some prospects, right? But I think this core of fighters that we got is a lot stronger than the last 15 years, in my opinion, just according to me. You know what I mean? As far as, having to be, to where we can pick and choose different prospects, man, I think there's a lot more right now. So when you look at them, I mean, yes, we know about Jarrell Miller, Gerald Washington, Dominic Breazeale, Charles Martin, Bryant Jennings, the Luis Ortiz, or not Luis Ortiz, but Andy Ruiz Jr., I'm sorry. You got him still around. So you got like that group. Then you got the group where it's guys that are coming up, and I know I'm going to forget somebody because I can't remember every damn single prospect, but you got guys like Trey Lippe Morrison. He's on television. He's comes from his father's bloodline. So there's the intrigue of that. I think he's 13-0 with 13 knockouts. I believe that's his record. Got the knockout power. Showtime has televised his fights. You know what I mean? So there are guys out there like that are still intriguing, just their story. You know what I mean? And how far can he go? Now, I'm not going to sit here and break down his fighting style and, his strength and weaknesses in this video, but just the fact that he's out there, he's somebody that we can keep an eye on, just see how far he goes. You know what I mean? Maybe he can work his way up to a title shot. Then there's other guys out there, the younger guys that have like under 10 fights, like Darmani Rock, a 20-year-old kid. I don't know, he's 20 or 21. He's young as hell. I think he's 20 or 21, but we got him coming up. Cassius Chaney, you got, he's another guy that I've heard nothing but great things about from Eric Molina's trainer. He was in the Fury camp when Fury was getting ready for that first Klitschko fight. Heard nothing but good things about him from the Fury camp. Guys like that. You got guys like Stephen Shaw, another guy that's a Heyman fighter, a big undefeated fighter. I think he's from St. Louis. Nick Manzorek, kid from Illinois, who's undefeated. think he's only like 21 or something. I think he's like 7-0. There's a lot of these type of fighters around. George Arias, the kid from the Bronx, he hasn't been active, you know what I mean? But he's like one of those smaller heavyweights. I want to see what happens with him. And Heyman, you know, he has Oscar Rivas. I'm not sure if Oscar Rivas is going to be able to pass the eye exam here in the States, but he was with Heyman. I know he fights up in Canada, you know what I mean? But he is a part of Heyman's stable, you know what I mean? At least the last I checked. Correct me if I'm wrong. I could be wrong, but I believe he's still with Heyman's stable in some capacity. But you got him. And even guys that aren't from here that are still making the USA, you know, they're going to come over to our soil and train with our trainers and possibly get some fights over here. You got Tony Yoka. His trainer is going to be Virgil Hunter. I'm curious to see how that is going to go. Is he going to come over here or, you know, but just the fact that Virgil Hunter is working with him, he's, you know, he's from the United States. That's a good thing. Luis Ortiz, I know he's Cuban and I know he's working with Eddie Hearn, but I believe his home is here in Florida and in Miami, and I'm sure that he'll fight here in the States. You know, he's fought pretty much his fights here in the States. Iju Agano, I know he's from Poland, and he was with Joseph Parker and that camp, and I believe he's still training with Kevin Berry, but he just signed with Heyman. He's coming over here. He's going to be on the Wilder undercard, so he's fighting here. I'm sure he'll probably get fights somewhere else too, but we can bring him over here, and he's fighting over here. There's another guy that just got signed. I'm not going to say his name, but he's another good prospect too, man. I'm waiting to say his name. I'm waiting for his team to make the announcement. Then I'll come out with a video. But there's another good hot prospect that just got signed that will be fighting over here in the States. You know what I mean? So to me, there's a lot of good things going on here. Then you got the guys you can throw in the mix like Amir Mansour. You still got Shannon Briggs out there. Malik Scott still out there. Burma Stavern, I know he's Haitian, but he fights. His fights are over here in the States. You know what I mean? So a lot of good fights for me as a fan. You know what I mean? Now, so for me as an American heavyweight fan, even the guys that aren't necessarily from here that are still making their home here, I'm good with these fights. I'm good with what's going on over here. I know there's a lot of excitement over there in the UK. You know what I mean? You got the Fury boys. You got Anthony Joshua, obviously. You got Dillian White, Derek Chisora. Then they got their prospects too. Nick Webb and Nathan Gorman. And then the who did they just sign over there? Dubois. Is that his name? Daniel Dubois. They just signed him. There's another kid that signed over there too. I can't remember everybody, man. There's another kid over there that just signed too. Damn, I forgot that kid's name, man. I know Dubois. And what's the other dude's name? You guys leave it in the comment section. The other UK kid that just signed over there. So there's a lot going on, man. I'm happy where we are as far as being an American heavyweight fight fan. Of course, we want the days of Mike Tyson and Holyfield, but they're not going to walk through the door, man. You know what I mean? They're just, you know, just like for the UK cats, Lennox Lewis isn't coming through the door. You know what I mean? So we got to move on and let these guys fight in their era, and we'll see what happens in this era. You know what I mean? It might come to it that none of these USA fighters are going to ever be better than the guys from the past. But what they can do is make a mark in this era. You know what I mean? Make their own mark in their own era and do what they do. You know what I mean? So a lot to look forward to for me. I don't know about you guys, man, but even that, like I said, some of the outside fighters that are not from our country coming over here, making their home here, training with our trainers, you're still adding to the culture of, you know, the fights that are here in the United States, in my opinion. You know what I mean? But I like what I see, man. Then you got other prospects that I'm not even naming. Gregory Corbin, who's undefeated. Adam Konowski, Polish kid that fights out of New York. You got him. A lot of kids, man. You know what I mean? And then, you know, we got the amateur ranks. I've seen some good talent coming out the amateurs, you know, or some kids that are fighting the amateurs right now that I'm seeing. So many prospects, man. I mean, you guys can check out my prospect playlist. I know I'm forgetting people, but I got like 80 damn prospects up there, man, or close to 80 prospects that I've talked about. So check out my playlist, you know, and there's prospects from all over the world right now that is doing their thing. But I'm pretty much just talking about the American heavy, or just fights over here in America, period, and just the culture over here right now. Just my opinion. I'm glad we don't have to just put all our eggs in one basket and just ride on Seth Mitchell. And if he doesn't make it, then it's a failure. Just like Deontay Wilder, as good as he is the knockout power that he has, I don't think we have to put all our eggs on one basket for Deontay Wilder, because there's so many up and coming guys that are coming up. And there's still some fights over here that can be made that'd be good fights with Deontay Wilder, in my opinion, with other American heavyweight fighters. You know what I mean? But you guys let me know what you think in the comments section. This is just one person's opinion, man. I want to hear yours. I'm out.